Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, which means you're looking at my handsome mug. Yes, you are. I'm so happy that you are with me this evening. And if you like what I'm doing, and of course you do, or you wouldn't be watching, then do me a favor, like, comment, and share. I bug you every single time because some of you aren't clicking. I see a bunch of people are watching, but I don't see a bunch of likes, comments, and shares popping up. So you're not doing your job. I'm doing my job. Do your job. Like, comment, and share. It does matter. It's how the algorithms work. It's how more people will see our message. We can have good, solid conversations. I am very lucky this evening to have with me a man who is my friend, a man who I've known for many years now, a man from upstate New York, a fellow New Yorker, a fellow Marine, just like me, absolutely, a pundit, a political guru, running right now for Broome County legislature as a Republican, not libertarian yet. I'll get him there one of these days. Also, he's one of the men who actually, very few people have been on my show twice. He now has that. He's been on my show 2 times. The man himself, Michael Vasquez, also known as Michael Voss. Welcome.
How are you? It's really good to be able to speak with you here, Larry, because you're right. Over the years, we've become very good friends. We've had some great conversations. We agree a lot. We disagree a lot. But most importantly, at the end of the day, we have a conversation. And I always wind up being enriched by the time it's done. Every time.
I appreciate it. I feel the same way. That's why I have you on yet again. But I got to ask, you have run before.
Yes. You
have served your community in your party. You've served your community as a reporter. You've done many different things. Why are you running again? And why county and why not for state or federal? Why county and why now?
Well, it's a great question. For those who don't know, back in 2013 to 2014, I ran for the New York 22nd Congressional District. I was running as a candidate to be in Congress. And it was a great race. Now, one of the things that's really important is I got out of that race because I achieved one of the goals that I wanted to do. I got a better person into place. That was Claudia Tenney. That year in 2014, she lost by just 2,000 votes, having been in the race only for about 2-3 months. Then followed up in 2016, she won. So I achieved, and she got a lot of things done, like cutting all of our taxes.
I had Claudia on the show. I know Claudia.
Yeah, and she's a great person. So one of the goals of running is, if you can't win, improve the community and make it better. Either by bringing up the issues or by directly forcing people to take on things that are going to be much better. So that's why I ran then for Congress. Why I'm running today for legislature, the county legislature, is I have it's kind of one of my reasons why I have a problem with Congress right now. I have an ineffective member of Congress, a gentleman by the name of Bob Wessler. Now, I know him. I know almost everybody in central New York politics. He's not a bad man. He's not an effective legislator. He's not an effective politician.
Those are 2 separate things.
Very separate things. So I don't want anyone to think this is personal. I am not attacking him personally. This is professional. He's not getting the job done.
Got it.
And when we have that, and we have need, I mean, even before what we have right now, which is my county, Broome County, is about to become the 2nd county in all of the United States to become bankrupt. And that's going to happen in 10 days.
And it is a domino effect. It's not the last.
It's not going to be the last, but it's the 2nd, which means we had massive financial problems before we got here.
Absolutely.
And the only other one is another town. I think it's in Tennessee. It's got 5,000 people. Well, Broome County has 190 some odd thousand people. So there's a much bigger problem here. And we need people who are effective, who aren't just looking at what's happening today,
Sure.
but what's happening. You've heard me say it before. And then what? What happens in 3 months? What happens in 6 months? What happens in a year?
No one thinks that, man. They don't.
That's the problem. Politics today is saying, well, here's the answer for this week. Who cares? I don't care about this week. I care about what's going to happen in 6 months.
Right.
And that's very, very critical. And that's not what's being done. In fact, when I brought up an issue,
I want to go down that road.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have been vocal about the politics in your community and New York State for a long time.
And the nation, yeah.
And the nation, sure, yes, for a long time. Didn't we see this coming? I mean, I was yelling and screaming about this when I was running for governor. It's one of the reasons why you kept talking to me. Because I was talking about the economic disaster that New York State's in, and you were like, yes, and my county too. And so we're in trouble here. So is there any recourse for those who obviously should have seen this and just didn't do anything?
It's insane what's happened here. Okay, not only have you said that when you were running for governor, we saw that I was talking about it in February and in March. And then we saw a report come out from the New York State Association of County Executives, or Counties, excuse me, New York State Association of Counties in May. They came out and said for Broome County that we were going to lose approximately $31 million, roughly, I believe it was 27% of our income due to COVID.
Wow.
Now, even if you don't want to listen to me because I'm a Republican, even if you don't want to listen to me because I'm just a guy who's unelected, well, guess what? When they tell you the counties are saying you're going to be, at that point, it was estimated to be roughly about 1/3 of our income was going to disappear. And then you do nothing. And here we are just 4 months later, and we're bankrupt.
Yep. We were just begging and hoping that somebody above would give us money.
It's never going to happen. Matter of fact, I told people that because when you're the first ones out, they're never going to do it. It's the same reason why New York State's not going to get bailed out for $61 billion. We're the first state failing. You need to see at least 25% of counties and or states failing. And then with an indication that it's going to be even more widespread, then you'll see the federal government step in with money. Not a second before that. They're praying for, well, the government's going to bail us out. No, they're not. And they shouldn't.
So let me go down this road. I don't know if you paid attention, but I had my plan for how to deal with COVID. Obviously, you are unhappy with the COVID response, as I am. That's not an uncommon. That's not an uncommon thought process, right? Well, actually, that's not true. In New York State, it is. Most New York State people actually still love Cuomo. I don't know why.
I can't understand. It's estimated, 12,000 people in nursing homes dead, and they love him.
Yep.
He wrote a book. Wait a minute. If you're so busy writing a book about how to handle a crisis that is ongoing, that he has not fixed and finalized yet.
Absolutely.
As counties are failing because he wakes up in the morning and says, gyms can be open, and then, has a bad breakfast and says, no, gyms are closed. You can't run a business like that. You can't run a state like that. And people are in love with this man. Why? Yes. I don't understand it. It makes no sense whatsoever.
So now, you're running.
Yes.
If you win this thing, I mean, do you really want to win this thing? I mean, they're going to basically say, here's a big pile of burning garbage, Mike. Good luck.
Yes.
Do you really want to win this thing?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I told people, and I was very upfront and honest with people in March. As soon as I got my petition signed, even though it was a very short period of time, but I did qualify even by the original standard. And what I said to people almost immediately was, taxes are going up. Next year, this was back in March, before we saw it, everything. I started telling people, your taxes are going up. The question is how much? I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is the first time I'm getting a chance to mention it. We could see taxes up 20%, possibly more.
Wow. Andrew just gave me a comment. He said in Otsego County, the county board is considering raising the tax cap. Exactly what you just said.
They have to.
Exactly what you said.
There's no way you can maintain the tax cap. Throw that out the window. We're talking about in Broome County alone, in 45 days, they lost 30% of revenues, and it didn't get better. And right now we're running the businesses that have survived and haven't closed. which I expect to cap out at about 18% in New York State, of businesses will no longer exist.
Wow, that is insane.
Nationally,
that's insane.
Nationally, I'm expecting it's going to be about 12%, but in New York State, I think it's going to be as high as 18%. And if that's the numbers we're looking at, then you're talking about there's no way that we can afford anything because we didn't come back to normal.
Hold on. This is what Jeff just brings us up, and I think that's the problem, right? Exodus. My worry, Michael, is, and I said this months ago, that there's going to be a time when New Yorkers simply abandon their homes and just get in a car and drive away and don't care about mortgages and don't care about taxes and just say, I'm underwater. Come catch me in Tennessee if you can. I'm out. Well, and I think we're seeing some of that already.
No, we've been seeing that for over 8 years now. We've seen, yes. I mean, we have lost approximately, if my numbers are correct, and it's an estimate, 1.8 million people. That has been balanced by about 200,000 illegal aliens that Democrats want to have counted in the census. But it's about 1.8 million. That's 2 members of Congress, almost 3. They've already left.
Yep.
Okay. And we're seeing them leave from the middle class, and they're taking businesses with them.
Yes, they are. Absolutely, they are.
So the problem isn't new. It's an existing problem. The answer is, what do we do to fix it? Now, do I want to run and have to deal with this? No. But I want to be here. I live in this community. I'm not selling my home because I can't get the price I want for it. And I'm here. And I also love my community, no doubt. And I want to make sure that I'm going to have the best value for my dollar, for the best representation possible. I'm only going to get that if we have someone who's effective and responsive. I was going to mention my opponent. You know what he did when I brought up, he had an issue, defund the police. He believes in that, apparently. Sure. He had it on his Facebook page that he supports defunding the police. June 20th. A lot of New
Yorkers do. A lot of New Yorkers do. I'm not one of them, but a lot of New Yorkers do.
I'm not either. And if Americans want to have that belief, that's fine. If they want to support that, that's fine. Here's my question. He's an elected official. He has that on his page. I said, please answer to the public and explain why you support this. His answer was he made his page private. Does anyone want to have a politician who when you say, hey, this is a very controversial, timely issue that has a massive impact for everyone in the community?
Absolutely. Yes.
And we're seeing evidence in Seattle, Portland, New York City, skyrocketing violence and problems. And you're saying, I'm going to take away the one stopgap we know could help, which is the police. We can have them better trained. We can have them better equipped, whatever the question may be. But his answer is, or in part seems to be, let's disband them, which will make the problem worse.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that's true, Michael. I don't think it's true. I don't think half of these people who are talking about defund the police actually want to defund the police. I think they're simply doing bumper stickers to make the people love them because that... To be forward, I'm not a defund the police person. I want to revamp the police. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I want that 100%.
Okay.
But defund the police sounds good. It's a great bumper sticker. You know, it's like, yeah, get them. And it makes people on the left excited. It makes people want to go out and do things. I don't know. I don't know him. But my gut tells me he doesn't actually want to defund the police. My gut tells me he's doing that so his people get rallied when they show up at the polls.
Well, that may be the case, but he's an elected official, which means he needs to come out and actually explain himself instead of hiding from the public and making his page private so you can't see it. My page has been around. I've been out there for 12 years, for actually 15 years. And I've got 1,000 videos on YouTube. I've got 2,300 articles that I've written over that time period. I have 2 Facebook pages. I haven't taken off a single word ever because the public deserves to know. But you mentioned something that's very interesting. In defunding the police, a lot of people will go with this because it sounds good, because it's a great slogan. You know what?
Go really get them.
So does Patriot Act. Do you like the Patriot Act? Because it sounds really good. I can give you, there are about the SAFE Act, New York SAFE Act. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. If the SAFE Act was any good whatsoever, we would not see the increase in New York City. 276 shootings as of 2 weeks ago, a over 100% increase in the number of shootings, a roughly 40% increase in the number of murders in New York City alone. Well, wasn't the New York SAFE Act supposed to stop all that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so names and slogans don't mean anything. They're there to deceive people, to say, I'm going to support that because it sounds great and I won't take the time to find out what it means. And then you get screwed at the back end.
So let's go down that road.
Yeah.
Right. My friend Tim brought up something a long time ago, and it's so right. I keep stealing it. He said that the COVID response, the government response, basically set everyone in their homes, and that was the kindling. Everybody's sitting at home for 3 months, watching Netflix, not working. Then George Floyd is murdered. Boom. That's the spark. It all explodes, right? The kindling was set there with the response. And George Floyd, boom, that was the response. Everyone's out, now protesting. And to be forward, it's a whole lot easier to protest for 3 weeks straight. You don't have to go to work. Well, right? You don't have to be to work the next day. Yeah. Easy to go protest at that point. If you got to go to work, you can't really protest. But the point being, the response was tough. But from that, you had been talking about Antifa and plot even prior
4 years
to Floyd's, the Floyd protests. But now it's gotten worse in your area. You're very specific about your area. Tell me about this. Tell me about plot. Most people don't even know what plot is.
Okay. So I've been talking about this for 4 years, 4.5 now. And in my region, at least, if not across the nation, Black Lives Matters, Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, otherwise known as plot, and Antifa.
Hold on. Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, plot.
That's plot.
Got it.
And Antifa, they are in essence all the same people, the same organization. We're talking about secret organizations with a secret agenda that are willing to use varying degrees of violence and intimidation and fear to achieve their goals. I have always stood against any group. I don't care who it is. I don't care what political faction they're representing. Anyone who would use fear, intimidation, and violence to promote a political agenda is wrong every single time. I don't care whether it's right or left. And I would denounce anyone who believes in those things. And this group does. We've already seen BLM come out nationally and say that they want to have a revolution to make America a socialist nation, which I disagree with because I've lived in Russia.
You're saying that BLM, the organization,
yes,
plot the organization,
yes,
and Antifa the organization,
yes,
in your area, same people,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
At least at the leadership level, to the degree that I can know a secret organization, and I only know some members as best as I can confirm them. So I can't say every single person. There are people who believe.
So are you saying that these three groups together are all trying to create a socialist, state as in New York State, or a socialist state as in America?
As in America. And that is their national, that is the motive for the national organizations. And they're, at least several of the leaders locally also promote that. And so when you have that kind of situation facing us, we can all disagree. There are Americans, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a democratic socialist. I don't agree with it, but she is.
She's my congressperson. I know.
I know. But you know what? That's fine. There are people in America who believe in socialism. Fantastic. We are American citizens. We have the right to believe whatever we want. We can go out and protest whatever you want. If you like vanilla ice cream and I like butter pecan, you can go out and protest.
Stop.
Whatever. You can go out and protest. Yeah?
I'm teasing. Yes, absolutely. I get where you're going with this, but isn't that, when you say that, isn't that going to be controversial?
Yes.
Because BLM right now is they've done something very well. Like they do with healthcare too, right? They interchange healthcare and healthcare insurance. They mix them together and go, you don't want healthcare? What's wrong with you, Michael? Oh my God, you're a bad person. You want to kill old people. They do the same thing with BLM, right? BLM, the concept and idea along with the movement. They put it together and go, you don't like BLM? Clearly you're a racist. Michael, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, and they loved calling us a racist. They'll call you a racist, me a racist, because we have the wrong political point of view. I mean, I think Biden said it really clear. If you have a question about Biden, then you're not black, because we're not.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, we're not expected to have an independent idea or have values and base our decisions on those values. So
I didn't know I could just not be black. I thought I didn't realize that. Look, if he can do that, that's impressive. I didn't realize he could just. I don't support Biden. I'm not black anymore. Done.
There you go. Well, according to there was recently an event for Backing the Blue last Tuesday, which I was one of the headliners and one of the co-creators of that event, and I had BLM/plot/ whatever came out with their boombox and a huge crowd of people surrounding me, blasting their boombox, a portable boombox, in my ear, literally 4 feet away from me, blasting it at its full volume, terrorizing the news media so that they couldn't do interviews with me, both because they couldn't hear me and because they were surrounded by a very hostile crowd. So
but why do a Back the Blue event? Let me go to that. Why do a Back the Blue event now when there's so much fear? You do a Back the Blue event in New York State now. You're asking to have problems. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I mean, you know you're going to get people mad at you now, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, defund the police in my state."
No, actually not. In my community upstate, we had overwhelming support. I think I've had 5 people who were members of this organization that were upset with me, and I've had well over 1,000 people absolutely happy and supporting us. They're thanking us that someone came up and actually said, no, I don't want to get rid of the police. No, I think we do have a good police force. By the way, so for people who don't know, in my region, my police force, they have been trained so well, they have the body cams. And since the body cams came out about 3 years ago, since they've had the body cams, every single complaint of police brutality has been proven to be false, showing the video to the complainant and reviewing it with them. Not one single complaint has gone through. That is a good police force. Now, you want to tell me LA has a problem? You tell me Minneapolis, Seattle, they have problems? Fine. You want to revamp the money, spend more money, in fact, I would say, and fix the training, get them better.
Well, it's funny you brought this up, right? I had a gentleman by the name of Krug on this show. He's a law enforcement officer in upstate New York. He used to work in the city. And he was explaining something that was difficult for me to get, but I got after we had a conversation.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between urban policing and rural and suburban policing. Yeah, it's a big difference. Big time. Right. And, I'm biased. I live in New York City. I know New York City. I'm biased, right? I know city urban policing. It's what I know. My father was in the police force here. It's what I know. And as he explained it, he's saying kind of the same things you're saying, right? A lot of there's a different view of the police forces in the cities, particularly the large cities, than there are. And those different problems. Remember, our police force in New York City is 40,000 strong. It's a small army.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, we have like a river division of like river troops. I mean, we have that kind of thing in New York City. It's massive. It's a very different way of doing things. So,
but relative to the population of New York City, which is at 8 million people, it's actually very tiny, which is proportionately pretty much the same everywhere in the nation. I mean, my community, we have about 124 police officers. There's in the city of Binghamton, about 124 police officers is about 38,000 people. So again, very small proportions, but that's because we don't need a lot of them if they're doing their job well. And
so let me go to Tim brings up a point, and I think others have brought this up too. Broome County jails, though, they've had a lot of problems, a lot of problems. I mean, people dying in them.
Yes.
I mean, all kind of problems. From the civilian population, they're going to look at that and go, see, all cops are bad.
Which is wrong. Because I don't say that every member of BLM or plot are bad. I know some of these people. They're good people. They work in our community. Some of them are mailmen, doctors, regular people. So it's the same thing. Now, do we have an institution that is doing poorly in the jail? There is a problem there. We've identified the problem. Let's fix the problem. If we have effective leadership, we get that fixed. That's the process. The process isn't, let me go out and intimidate you, close down your business, shout at you, call you racist names, and tell you that because you are the wrong color, you have to bow down to me and that you have some special privileges and rights that no one else has because of that. That isn't the way it works. Well, is there a problem?
Let me touch the piece. David brings this up. He says blacks and Hispanics are most socially conservative. Yeah. And look, you have to know this as I do. And I tell people this who aren't in this world, and they're often surprised. I have relatives who are black, who are conservative, and they vote Democrat. You must have a similar situation in your world.
Yes, I do.
Yes, this is everywhere, right? I'm not making, guys, I've told people this, they're like, no. I'm like, no, this is a thing. This is a thing.
That is probably the most effective marketing plan because quite honestly, they have to an extent commoditized in a political sense. They've commoditized the black culture. That's why Biden feels he can get away with making the statements he says. Yeah. Because they don't have to care about blacks. The marketing says you're going to do this no matter what. And it's the best marketing ever because they get, 80 percentiles on average. I mean, literally right now.
The black vote? No, it's 90%.
Well, no, here's the thing. It's so widespread and taken for granted that if Trump is actually only getting 20 to 30% of the black vote, Democrats are absolutely terrified that they are going to lose in a landslide because of 20 to 30% of a vote they don't pay attention to and don't care about.
Well, every 4 years they pretend.
Yeah. Well,
they do pretend every 4 years. Yeah.
Every 4 years. We are so great for black. Meanwhile, we have President Trump came out and what did he get to do? He brought down historically low black, Hispanic, and women unemployment.
Well, let me go to Trump for a minute. You're an oddball Republican in this way. Most Republicans either say Trump is the greatest thing that's ever hit America ever, or they basically go, Trump who? And they dodge and run away, right? There's basically two types that I see constantly. You're not that way. You're on that kind of tightrope.
Well, it's because I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm a political commentary, a pundit. So I don't look at him in the way a lot of people do. But what most people look at are tweets and headlines. That's about it. Almost anything you want to say in politics today, you either put it in a tweet, which is basically a headline. That's it. And no one's really paying attention to anything else. If you really, really want to work hard, throw on a picture because that's what most people are absorbing. So when we really look at President Trump, he is a better than average president. He's had several successes. He's not perfect. He's definitely on the learning curve with his first administration, not unlike almost any president. But for someone who's a non-politician...
No. I would disagree on that one. I think if you look at presidents who've been governors, they're much more effective first term.
Yes, they are.
Bush and Clinton, the second Bush and Clinton, both got a lot of stuff done the first term because they had been governors. They already knew kind of how to play the game, right?
Yeah, they have more executive experience.
Absolutely.
Government. And we should say government executive experience as opposed to private sector, because it doesn't work that way. But I think that for someone who's stepped in, like President Trump has,
you're right. Obama struggled his first term too. I agree.
Yeah. And he's made it through, but he's achieved probably the most of his campaign promises of any president in my lifetime. And I'm 52, folks. I earned the gray hair, but I think out of all the presidents in our lifetime, 52 years now, he's the one who's actually achieved the most of his campaign promise that he's made to us. and had the most positive effect.
You don't think Clinton did what he said?
Clinton didn't really say anything, and he didn't do anything. What did Clinton do?
Clinton threw 140,000 cops into black neighborhoods, making sure we went to jail.
There was that, but then
he did that.
And,
I
mean, and that was that. Biden, and that was Biden right beside him.
Biden was right next to him, writing the law. So I mean, he did that.
But at the time,
he did actually have us have a balanced budget. We had no deficit 1 year under Clinton.
Yes, because he changed the accounting rules that year.
Still did it?
No, that doesn't count.
That's once.
And the only reason why it happened, because I was a stockbroker at the time, he changed the accounting rules to take advantage and say that because people had paper profits off of their stock market accounts, he would count that as a real profit because at some point they would sell and they would have that realized profit. He counted that as real income to offset the deficit, and that's why we had a profit in the middle of the hype of the internet bubble. No, he didn't actually balance.
Well, he bombed Yugoslavia.
Okay, everyone's bombed.
I'm just teasing. I'm totally teasing you, Mike. I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, but I mean, but when we really look at it on balance, President Trump has actually hit a lot of the metrics that everyone. This is why we elected him. He got things done. We've been.
I don't buy that. No, come on. That's not why we elect him. Stop. We elected Donald Trump because he was the rebel. We have been looking for rebels since 2008.
Wait. Actually, let's be even more real.
That's why we re-elected.
There's a section of the public that agree with you and why they voted for him. Section that agrees with me, and then there's probably the largest group that said Hillary Clinton is a criminal. I'm not electing her.
Well, yeah. Also because he wasn't Hillary. Also true. Yes. Yeah. Also true. But we've been looking for a rebel forever. This country's been looking. This country thought Obama was going to be a rebel. That's why we elected him. We thought he was going to be the rebel.
Yeah, post-racial Obama.
That's right. We thought he was going to be a rebel. I did too. I bought the hype. I thought he was going to be a rebel. I thought he was going to be different, going to be special. No, he wasn't.
Did you read what he had said in all of his speeches, his reports prior to getting elected?
Of course not. I was running a business. I cared about that stuff. I was like, no, this guy's.
And I was writing in 2007 and 2008. I was writing for BET as the only Black Republican on their. They had the TV One, and I'm writing for them from the Republican point of view there, and getting hate mail every day because I could point out Obama was horrible, and he wound up being a horrible president.
Yeah, he wasn't our best president. I think he was not our best president. I don't think it was a bad president before with you. When I look at him versus other presidents, I don't think it was bad. He was no worse than most of the other ones. I mean, yes, it's relative. I don't like most presidents.
He was worse. No, he was really bad.
Tell me why. Why was Obama worse and why is Trump so much better? See, I don't agree with you on Trump being great. I think they're both mediocre. I think Obama's mediocre. I think Trump's mediocre. I think they're all mediocre. But you disagree. Tell me why Obama was worse and Trump's better.
Fantastic. DACA. President Trump spent.
What's wrong with DACA?
Obama went out for 2 years, over 20 public press conferences, and said the president cannot change law and cannot make illegal aliens instantly have a path to citizenship and be able to be in the country legally. He then, in the beginning of the second term, instantly changed it around with DACA and actually did what he said he didn't have the constitutional power to do because he didn't have it. And that was illegal. When you have a president breaking the Constitution to achieve a political gain, then I have a problem because it sets a precedent.
Trump didn't respond to subpoenas. You can't not respond to subpoenas.
He did respond. He did.
He blew them off. He said, "Don't you dare answer." Trump blew off subpoenas.
No. He got his lawyers.
Follow the Constitution when they want to, and then all of a sudden don't when they don't want to. Come on.
Yes, every president does that, and yes, Trump did get his lawyers on that to play the legal game.
Yep.
But there's a big difference to me of having the politicking and having someone literally break the Constitution after they just told you that it's breaking the Constitution. He spent 20 press releases as president saying, I can't do this. I don't have the power. And then he did it. That is a problem. So yeah, that instantly makes Obama way, way worse. And Trump, who hasn't done that and actually has tried to reverse that, better. Now, you don't have to agree with me on that.
I'm not going to buy on that one. No,
you don't have to, but you're asking me, where's my basis for it? There's my basis.
All right. Look, I hear you. I got it. At least you're not just going, I love Trump. You have a reason, which is good. Half the people I talk to who love or hate Trump, they just love or hate Trump. They couldn't even tell you why.
No.
They're like, he's just bad, he's evil, or he's just awesome, he's just great. And they wouldn't even tell you why. So I find, at least you have an answer. I'll buy that. So let's go, though. Let's go to the next piece. Let's go to Biden-Harris.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. I mean, because, look, right now, and I can't call this election. I thought Trump wasn't going to win in 2016. So I was wrong then. So I'm not calling the election now. I'm just going to say what it looks like now. What it looks like now, by the polls, Trump is in trouble. I was wrong in 2016. So I'm not calling the election. I am simply announcing what it looks like right now. By the polls, it looks like Trump's in trouble. What do you think about the Biden-Harris pick?
Okay. And in 2016, I was saying Trump couldn't possibly win. I even have been on record saying that Trump wouldn't make it through the nomination process. I
thought he wasn't going to win too. I'm with you. I also was wrong. If someone would have made me bet, I would have bet Trump was going to lose in 2016. I would have been wrong.
Right. And so what we're looking at is he has an appeal to the average citizen. He has a connection, and that's an important thing. We also at this point now he has a track record, and that track record minus COVID, which he had no power to do anything
let's
about.
Go Biden-Harris. I don't want to go Trump now. Let's go Biden-Harris.
No, I'm going there. So he has a positive track record. What do we have for Biden? 47 years in government, no successes. He's sadly, and very sadly, and I mean this very seriously, the man is suffering from dementia.
But he is Obama's best friend. Obama called him brother.
Fantastic. And if he remembers that tomorrow, I'll be impressed. And I'm being serious about that. The man is literally deteriorating in front of us on national media. And I feel bad about that.
But you and I both know this. You and I both know that that Biden is a placeholder. It doesn't matter. He's a placeholder. That's all he is. He's a placeholder. And I've said it before, he could be a ham sandwich. It doesn't matter. He is not Trump, therefore good. That's the equation.
I understand.
That's the Democratic equation. Not Trump equals good. It could be a chicken. They would be like, great. Chicken versus Trump. Done.
But that doesn't mean that moderates, conservatives, independents, libertarians, or Republicans are going to vote for any of that. We want someone who's going to have substance, and we don't like the little it's a type of scam, bait and switch. Mm-hmm. We don't like the bait and switch where someone's going to throw in, here's Biden. See, he looks great. Oh yeah, he's only going to make it 3 months, and then we're going to get rid of him, and Kamala's going to step in. So what we're really looking at is Kamala Harris is running for president. Someone who the Democrats themselves throughout the entire nomination process for an entire year didn't peak over 6%. Democrats.
See, I got to tell you something, Michael. The Republicans, I think, I get what they're doing, but I think they're either they don't get it or there's something's up here, because the reality of it is the Biden-Harris ticket relative to the Democratic Party is not far left at all. It just isn't. Republicans are screaming and yelling how they're so left and so left and so left. For Democrats. They're mainstream Democrats, right? There's no Bernie Sanders in this. There's no AOC. Don't be wrong. They're left, but they're not crazy left. Well, they're regular left.
Yeah, no, the Democratic Party as a whole, the leadership, again, and I want to make a very big difference between the Democratic Party, its leadership, and the rank and file members.
Sure.
They are worlds apart. But this leadership, they have moved so far to the left to kiss the butts of groups like BLM and Plot and Antifa and the Democratic Socialists like AOC. They have gone so far to try and appease that radical fringe group because
they show up to vote.
Well, mostly because they're very, very loud.
Yes.
But they're not a lot of them. They are a fraction.
Oh, no, hold on. See this again. If you look at 2016, and Bernie said it, I don't know if you happen to watch. You probably watched the Democratic convention.
Not this year, last time. Yes.
Yeah. If you watched Bernie talk, Bernie literally brought up the people because he knows what I always say. When the Democratic establishment threw Bernie out because they didn't want Bernie, they wanted the establishment candidate, Hillary Clinton, who was literally the poster child for establishment, right? They wanted her. About 1/3, I'm making these numbers up, but it's in groups of three. Right. One third of Bernie bros decided, okay, I'll hold my nose. I lean left. I'll vote Hillary. Fine. 1/3 said, I'm out. I'm done. Bye. You guys screwed me. I'm not showing up at the polls. And a third said, I want a rebel. I can't find it in Democrats. I'm going Trump because I found it in the Republican Party. And a bunch of voted for Trump. And he actually mentioned that. People thought I was crazy when I said that. But he actually mentioned that in his speech because he knew that if he doesn't get those people up, they're either going to vote for Trump again or they're going to stay home because Biden is not one of them. Biden is old school stuff they don't even understand. They want new wave stuff.
Yes, but Kamala's the person to pay attention to. And Kamala isn't old school. She is part of that further left progressive style. And she wants to be there. I mean, she wants a cop who says that in 100 days, if she doesn't get the gun restriction legislation she wants, she's going to, by executive fiat, take everyone's guns.
That's what cops do. Cops take guns.
No, cops get guns when someone has broken the law under very specific things, under very specific situations. They don't just randomly walk in and take your gun, which
Have
is
you
what
been
she
in New York
said.
City? Yeah, they do.
Well, New York City is a special case.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
New York City is special. So let's remember.
But Kamala is a chameleon. Kamala just wants to be top. I think Kamala's basically Rice is the most neocon of all the Democrats. I think Kamala's right behind her. I think she's right behind her. I don't think so. I think she's just saying that stuff to get the AOCs to get behind her, and so they'll vote for her. I think when she's in charge, she's gonna be more like a Clinton than she is a Sanders.
Here's the thing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, when she had a field of 26 other Democrats there, the rest of the Democratic Party said, you know what? They don't know who she is. They don't believe in her, and they don't believe they're ever going to see the real her. And they rejected her. She never got past 6%. So this is, regardless of how we're trying to figure it out and see, well, how far left she is. Well, we don't even need to figure that out. Democrats have already said they have no interest in her whatsoever. And the only reason why she's on the ballot is because she fills check boxes. Let's see. Woman.
She gets
check.
3.
Black check.
She gets 3. Woman, black, Asian.
Well, actually, she's Indian. She's not black. By her own words. Her own campaign says she is an Indian American, not a black American. She said that for every campaign and every election she has run in.
That's
she doesn't
what I'm saying.
recognize
She's a chameleon. Now she's blacker than black.
Yeah, and
now she's blacker than black.
And I'm Japanese.
Exactly. There we go. Yes. Now she's blacker than black. Look, I clearly I'm voting Joe Jorgensen. Clearly, so I'm obviously I don't have a dog in this fight, but I'm just saying the reality of it is I think Kamala is not as bad as not as left, I should say, as Republicans are making it. Biden's definitely not as left. The reason why they picked it, the Democrats believed, and I don't know if they're right. It failed in 2016, but it might work this time. The Democrats are believing that if they have a Biden ticket, that the never Trump Republicans can swallow hard and vote Biden. And they knew if they had a Bernie Sanders, there's no way never Trump Republicans would vote Bernie. In fact, I know Democrats who would never vote Bernie.
Okay. And here's the thing. Yes, they may get some of those, but there are, I tend to believe, far more people who are looking at Biden who can't make a single conversation actually intelligible, a man who is definitely suffering from, well, appears to be suffering from some kind of dementia, who is not expected. What was it recently? I think there was a poll, 62% of Americans don't think he's going to make it through 4 years. I think you could make that, if they took the poll, I think 40% or more of America would probably say he wouldn't make it through the first year.
I'm not sure. Look, I watch CNN and I watch Fox. Right. Yeah. That's why when I do my show, I got to watch both. Right. You watch Fox News. Biden is falling over himself. He's an old senile man ready to drop dead tomorrow. You watch CNN. The guy's a god. I mean, he's in perfect health. He's the smartest, savviest guy. He's Obama's younger brother. I mean, it's insane. Right.
Because again, marketing. That's marketing.
Yes. But most people who are going to vote blue, they're not watching Fox. So everything you're saying, they're not hearing. They're hearing Biden is the greatest guy in the world. He loves his wife. He's so nice. He's not like mean Trump. Trump is so mean, and Biden is so nice. That's what they hear every day.
Which is
they're not watching Fox News.
Yeah, but that's still a lie. And it's a shame because people, and this is why we need debates, which they said no debates. When have you ever?
I wouldn't debate if I was him.
Of course not. But you know what? This is the American presidency. You must have a debate. And I understand he isn't capable of having. Not. I
would never debate if I was him.
I don't think it's not because he's a smart man. I think he's a very smart man. I think he's just mentally deficient at this moment. And that's why they don't want to have a debate. They have never suggested that anyone should not have a debate ever. And they're saying it for this man, which should tell everyone in America, if they don't want a debate, then there is a intrinsic, absolute, fundamental problem with him, and therefore he shouldn't be voted for. You don't have to be a Republican to believe that. Just understand, the only reason anyone would not want to get on a debate stage and try and get more voters is because they are terrified. People will see they are fundamentally flawed and they will lose. That's the only reason.
I mean, I think there's a tactical thing, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, and I happen to think the polls are better than they were in 2016. Yeah. And I think they're better because the industry itself can't afford to fail again. The industry will be a joke if it fails again. Well, so my assumption is that they've done better. I have no evidence to prove this to be true, Michael. I'm telling you a feeling. My feeling is that they know better. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. They've done the things to make themselves better because they can't fail again. I mean, 2016 was an embarrassment for them. So they can't do that again. That's my assumption. No evidence, just my feeling. So if that's true, then Democrats believe polls. They think they're ahead. So why debate? There's a strategic reason to say, no, I'm not going to debate. The people who are going to get mad or whatever, fine, I'm still going to win. I think that's their logic.
I think that logic only works for people who are like 25 and under. And everyone else who's been through an election cycle or two has a different opinion. And I should say, I'm right now I'm having two hats on. So there's Mike, the legislative candidate, and then there's Mike, the political commentator. They're a little bit different, but at least people are able to see both. This is me, folks. When you vote for me, this is what you get. Someone who's willing to listen and have a discussion, but also have a strong passion from a certain point of view. So I think the media has a bias that's built in, and I'm willing to admit I have one too.
Sure.
I'm just upfront. You're the Republican, the Libertarian point of view. I am a Republican conservative point of view. The rest of the media says that they are independent. They are lying. The overwhelming majority of the media is left-leaning, if not progressive.
See, I don't buy that. No. See, you guys that are right always say this.
It's been proved. You know how many times they've done polls of multiple different natures
number of
showing
people in the media, true. But I don't care about number of people in the media. I care about eyeballs on the media.
Yeah, have you read
Fox
the articles?
News kicks MSNBC's and CNN's ass every night.
Yes.
Fox News, the more people are watching Fox than CNN and MSNBC combined.
Combined,
I
yeah.
don't care if you have more bodies in the media. You got more eyeballs on Fox.
Okay, so there's more people watching one channel, but there is an overwhelming flood on the opposite side, and that has been that way for let's call it 6 decades. You have a momentum now. Fox is doing well now, and that's fantastic, but they're not enough to stem that tide. And more importantly, and I want to make people very clear, you shouldn't be watching just one. And I actually don't think just two. I myself, and you know this, I spend anywhere between 6 to 10 hours, depending on the day, reading and watching the news from every source. I watch the BBC, Israeli Times, Al Jazeera, the Washington Post, New York Times, New York Post, just about everybody, and a bunch of people online, including yourself, Tim Pool, a bunch of others. So there's a wide plethora of information, and I start willing down and I go down to the sources. I actually look up the bills and find out what is actually being said here.
I remember when I ran for governor, you were one of the only people who was open to having me on without attacking me. You were one of the only people who was open to have a real conversation. You told me up front. I was very happy. I mean, you were very good. I hats off to you, brother. Hats off.
Yeah. But that's what everyone should be, mind you, not necessarily to our extreme.
No.
And I admit, I'm an extremist. I find out everything I can. But if everyone spent an hour doing just a third, a fifth of what we're talking about, looking at just 3 different sources, maybe 2 different things online, maybe just a major mainstream news media and someone online. If you just do that, your viewpoint on everything changes instantly. And I think it becomes much better.
So let's go back to kind of the local area, right?
Yeah.
We jumped up to the national and I got it. Yeah. But I want to go to Broome County and New York State. That's what I want, those 2 things.
Okay.
You're right. We're in trouble. And I think that unless some miracle happens, I think 2023, if Cuomo wins in 2022, in 2023/2024, he takes this state through bankruptcy.
I think we hit that before then.
But I don't know. I think he finds a way to not make that happen because then he won't win the election. He will find a way through hook or crook, lie, cheat, steal, whatever's required, that it will not look that way by 2022. That's my opinion, because he wants to win so much. He will do whatever it takes, legal or illegal, to make it look like he's holding on. After he wins the election in 2022, 2023, he takes us through bankruptcy. And whether Trump wins or not in November, he blames Trump for everything.
He blames
all Trump's fault for everything.
Of course.
How do we avoid that? I just asked you the biggest question of the night. How the hell do we avoid that?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because it is a good scenario. It is a realistic scenario.
Yes.
So part of the answer is term limits. Now, here's I'm going to give you a total fantasy right now.
Okay.
Because this is politically never going to happen.
Okay.
We get rid of everybody who's been in for more than 2 terms and restart the whole process with a new assembly, a new state senate, and we prevent the basically emperor Cuomo from being able to do what he's doing right now. And we start pulling back from things that they've just been blanket throwing out there without any understanding of what the consequences are. And that allows us to look at our financials and really evaluate, do we really want to spend money the way we're spending?
Let me throw a crazy one at you, but not a fantasy, but crazy. It's what I really think it is.
But that is a fantasy. Okay.
I think it's cryptocurrency.
No.
I think it is New York State creates its own cryptocurrency to start paying local bills in cryptocurrency. How the hell else, Vas, do you get out of what is it going to be? By the time 22 comes around, $600 billion in debt, give or take. Is that about right? I'm throwing numbers. Who knows? Probably in that area, right?
Close.
Whatever. It'll be in that area somewhere. So whatever that, how do you get around that with, like you said, over 1 million people leaving by then, probably 2 million leaving by then.
3.
Right? Businesses leaving, to your numbers, almost a fifth of all the businesses closing, not coming back.
Yes.
And as we raise the taxes, more people are going to be leaving to Tennessee and Florida and North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't see any other answer besides a local cryptocurrency to pay local bills in local cryptocurrency.
No, because now you're devaluing the United States, the dollar, and that's going to have its own ramifications across the world.
No, you're only paying locally. It's a New York coin.
Yeah, it's a New York coin, but that means that you're not using US dollars, which devalues the dollar because it's affecting the GDP. So, no, I don't agree.
The dollar's based on nothing. The dollar has value because Marines will invade shit. Well, that's why the dollar has value, because guys like you and I who hit the beach. That's the reason why the dollar has value.
That's part of why it does. And that's actually a good part of it. And you know what? I love the Marines. I love every one of you guys. But I'm just thinking about guys hitting the beach just back in the day. It's like,
absolutely, yes.
Taking me back a little bit. But I think the real answer is by preserving what we have right now is we have to have a realistic, and this is true at the localist level to the state level. We have to have a real analysis of where are we spending this money. We have wasted too much money in unions, and I don't care what union it is, whether it's the firefighters union, the teachers union. We got a union for everything, and we're overspending on all of them.
You're touching that third rail.
So's taxes, and taxes are going up next year, and I say it's going to be about 20%. We are in a position now that telling me that something is sacred, telling me you can't talk about that, saying that, oh, we're just not going to deal with that, is no longer going to work. We can't do that. Our nation cannot survive in this position we are in by saying, I'm going to push that off. That's too sensitive. It's uncomfortable. I'm sorry, deal with it. Because if we don't have that pain now, the problem is escalating, and it is going to be untenable if it is not already very soon.
Do you remember when I was running, I was the one talking about fixing the pension bomb.
I know. And we have to.
Yeah, now it's even worse.
I know. And it's going to get even worse. So it's not that I disagree. I mean, there are many people there are blue dog Democrats, there are libertarians, and there are a host of Republicans and conservatives that all recognize we can't keep spending like this. We can't, because we're not spending smart. I mean, it's one thing if we're spending smart. We're not. We're just throwing money everywhere and hope. I'm
agreeing with you, brother. If you remember when I ran, I wasn't talking about lowering taxes up front. I was talking about stopping spending. That was my first piece. Stop spending first. Yeah. Then let's lower taxes. But let's stop spending.
I'll give you a great example. Local, bring it down to the county level. So in my county legislator's race, I've been going around. I've talked to the business as best I can. COVID is really preventing me from speaking for most people.
Sure.
Which is why I do things online. But I have talked to some businesses, and I said, here's an idea. We zero out the county taxes for 3 months, 6 months, and do a phase back in. Could that help? Now, the answer is not really. It's only 8%. But guess what? If you are a business that is on the edge of the line, that's about to either teeter or succeed, maybe having an extra month or two at 8%, putting that back into your pocket to pay those bills to get through this situation, maybe that's worth it. I'll give you another great idea. And we should do this on a state and national level, but I'm definitely going to try and do this at the county level. Renegotiate the contracts for the IT departments and any other contract like that. We all know every business, and especially the government doesn't buy anything without having the extended warranty that everybody else says, no way I'm paying for that. But the government pays for everything. And businesses throw in everything into that extended warranty and charge double because it's the government. And they know they can, and the government's going to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Let's renegotiate those. You know what? COVID's here. My county is going bankrupt. Let's renegotiate. You want to still have the IT contract? Fantastic. We'll take the extended warranty, but you're going to give me a discount. Let's knock it down 30%. Let's knock it down. I'd try and say 70% and work down to 30. let's renegotiate that. Give me some of that money back. You're still getting your extra for your, because most of the extended warranties aren't going to ever truly be cost effective. The government's still going to buy it because we have to, because of emergencies, which I disagree with. But at least then we have a little bit more money that I can now take that money and maybe put it to, well, we have a local organization called Chow. It helps feed people. Maybe I can give that organization some food, some money to be able to buy food to help distribute it to the community,
Michael,
and let people have it.
I love those ideas, but my question is, and this is my entire piece about New York State.
Yeah.
How the hell do we get people to stop leaving and then get them to come back? Right. The biggest issue that I said, and I said it when I ran, if I run again, it'll be the same thing. If I win governorship, I will judge my 4 years by one metric, only one. Did people stop leaving? That's it. If people did not stop leaving, I failed. If they stop leaving, I'm winning. That's my, everything I do has to go towards that, right? If that's my end game. If after 4 years people are leaving my state, I'm failing. But if they're not leaving anymore, I'm winning. And if I get 4 more years, they should be coming back.
Right. And I have the same ultimate goal. I mean, I want to see Catholic Charities that just shut down one of its stores that has a thrift shop. It's gone. My local, there's a laundromat 2 blocks away from me, helps serve the public. They're gone. Everything. I mean, they took the pipes out and everything. That's not helping the community. I want to see these things come back. I want people to have a normalcy. And the only way we can get people to stay, first problem is we need people to stay. Yeah. Second problem is we need people to be able to be employed. And then you will get the third thing, which is people coming back.
Yes.
So the part, how do we get there is, in part, let's be smart. Stop spending where we can't afford it. Let's focus on the essential items, improve them. If we improve the equality of the essentials that everyone needs without having to raise taxes more, or let's be realistic, it's the United States government not increasing extremely more, but we're able to get those services and actually make them streamlined and effective to the people who are getting them, then we will have people stick. If people stick, that will encourage businesses to come in, whether it's from a local person who's going to invest, or whether it's someone from outside the region who will come in without being paid to be here, without being paid to come here. And if that happens, then we will have people coming in. It is a system, but we need to stop doing things like the latest pie in the sky idea.
Oh, I know. It's
hemp
so
industry.
bad.
The hemp industry is the home run. You know, I don't want to hear another home run. And if I get to be elected and I can influence people, and I think I can, we're never going to hear another home run again, where this industry is going to come in and it's going to change the community. No, I don't care. If you have that idea, get out of my community, because what happens every time is they take our money and they don't give us anything.
What about the idea? And this is a controversial thing I'm going to say, but I think it's a serious thing we deal with. The people who expect government to do most of the things for us, who think that government should be doing everything for us, they're staying. And the people who don't think that, they're leaving.
Yes.
So as we begin to, kind of get into power, aren't we inheriting a constituency that says, yeah, Michael Voss, I like this, but I want government to do everything for me. I actually don't want to worry about charities or me or responsibility and stuff. I don't want that. Michael, will you please be my daddy?
No. And the answer is no.
Yes.
I'm honest, and I'm more than willing to lose an election by standing on my principles, because I'm not going to bend them. No, the government shouldn't be your be all and everything. It wasn't meant to, and it doesn't know how to do it. So no.
It does it very poorly.
It miserably, because it doesn't know what it's doing. It's not its job. What we need to do is and this is why we need a new emphasis of a new elected officials. We keep holding these people on who've been saying, I'll take care of it for you. We need new people coming in and saying, I'll help you for you to fix it. In other words, and I've said this before, I think you've heard me say it before, I believe in the parable. I want to teach you to fish. I don't want to feed you a fish.
Right.
Now, mind you, let's understand, if you are in an emergency, you are in an extreme situation, we are the most giving nation in the world. And I will be happy to feed you because you are desperate. You're in desperation. You need help.
Right.
But as I help you, I'm going to pick you up and go, here's your loaf of bread. You're going to eat. Okay. Do you have your strength back? Yes. Okay. Now this is how you make that bread, because don't ask me again.
Right.
And now when you're self-sufficient,
Government
you feel
can't
better
do
and do better. Government says, I'm going to feed you. Here's your bread. Come back tomorrow every day at 3:00. Otherwise, you're going to starve to death. Oh, by the way, you got to vote for me too.
Absolutely.
No matter what I say, you got to vote or you'll starve to death.
That's correct.
Don't agree with that. I do not agree with that.
Jason brings up a point about Broome County and grants. He says Broome County is reshaped by the grants rewarded.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes.
Tell me, please.
Like many of the counties, and you know this,
Yeah.
maybe it's the way it's worded, but most counties across the country, they get a wide assortment of different types of grants to help pay for things.
Absolutely.
So
that's how the state government controls us.
Yeah. So in Broome County, we used to have about 80,000 people in Binghamton alone. There's now 38,000 thereabouts. And so we have a lot of blighted buildings that have been sitting there for, in some cases, decades, just falling apart. We get government funding to help pay to tear down those buildings so that we don't have them just being places of disease and wild animals and kids hurting themselves because they fall in a broken building.
Sure.
So that's just one of the grants. There's CDGB funds and some others as well. But basically,
but I guess what he's saying is, if I get him right, that's how the Albany is controlling Broome County. And my assumption is, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that you would rather that tax money not go to Albany in the first place and stay within Broome County.
Yes. And that's what I would fight. I would fight to try and keep that money here with us where we can more effectively and more immediately use it. Obviously, you have to pay some because that's part of the system.
Right.
And when the money's coming back, I want to see things end like Governor Cuomo's Hunger Games.
Yes.
For people who don't know, or if you're not in New York State, our governor has this raffle almost where he goes out to the counties and says, give me your best idea. And maybe if I like it a lot, I will give you back some of your tax money so you can spend it.
Yes.
And every county is competing against every other county to get this money, basically stabbing your brother in the back.
For your own money back. Yeah.
For your own money back. And it's essentially based on how good did you make Governor Cuomo feel about himself.
Yep.
Which is why I cannot be in charge of anything to do with getting the grants because I'm going to piss him off.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to kiss his buttocks. I'm going to, ram my boots up there. But
figuratively.
Okay, if you say so.
I don't want to get you in trouble. Figuratively. I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't need his goons coming after you. So we're going to say figuratively.
But I mean, we need a strong approach. We need a strong approach where people are standing tall and saying, hey, I am responsible to my constituents. This, sucking up to Governor Cuomo, or any governor for that matter, or any higher level official, is not necessarily the best thing. Sure, that will give me a temporary amount of funds coming in, but is that really helping my people?
But that's what we just talked about earlier. So many people are about that temporary hit, right?
Yeah.
Look what I did. See, I brought $10,000. I brought $1 million. I brought $10 million. I brought $500,000. See what a good, candidate I am. I brought money to this place.
But that's not really bringing money. It's not about how many dollars you can bring. It's how I know that works great for the politicos in an area. But what we really need is I want to give, what's a success for me? And I can only say for me at my level dealing with the county, I want to see in my district that we not only open up the laundromat that just shut down, I want 2 of them. Okay. I want to see that the Chinese food place that is closed down. I want to see 3 of them.
Yep.
I see the Catholic Charities thrift store is gone. I want 4 of them. Okay. Yep. That's what I want. If I get those back in, everything else falls in line. And I have to tell the people that I am responsible to, and I would say this throughout the entire county because it is a county position.
Yep.
I want that for every single city and town in the county.
Yep.
And yeah, you might have to pay a little bit more for that. You're going to anyway. And
so you're not even trying to pretend that taxes aren't going to go up. You're just like, it's going to happen.
I'm guaranteeing you, not only are taxes going up, I'm suggesting that it's going to be about 20%. I'd like to be wrong. I would love if we have less than 18% of businesses closed. I would love if we see less than a 20% increase in taxes. But I can tell you that according to the U.S. Department of Chamber of Commerce, back in April, they did a survey of all businesses at that time in the United States, their members. It was over 25% of those businesses said they had enough money to make it through 2 months without any revenues coming in. Then you had within 3 months, so we're looking at a revenue situation right now where we have exceeded that problem.
Right.
And that means the target is roughly 32% of businesses are, if not failing at this moment, about to fail.
Got it.
Now add in the phases that Governor Cuomo has put out there and the extensions of those phases. And you tell me that you think that every gym, every bowling alley, I don't know how many restaurants in my area. We've lost Maine's 400 jobs there. We lost a couple of grocery stores. I've just run through.
Here in Queens, we lost the Bohemian Beer Garden. For those who don't know what that is, the Bohemian Beer Garden in New York City, you can't drink alcohol outside of a building, right? You can't have an open container, except in the Bohemian Beer Garden. This was a exception. It was a historical site in New York City. It was from, I don't know how many years ago, right? This beer garden, they went under. We lost a historical site in Queens, New York, where people could go, families, friends, enjoy, have beer, all kind of cool stuff, events, gone because of this. And while that may only be probably about 15, 20 employees, I'm thinking it wasn't that large of a, most of it was open area, right? So it was a very small eatery, right? But it was a large open area, maybe 20 employees or so. But man, that's a cultural spot gone in New York City.
And what are the implications of that being gone? What else goes into that spiral of the dominoes falling out? I want to mention something. Someone, I see Ryan Bedford mentions 20% buy New York. Okay, guess what? You're not escaping it, because if you're going outside New York, good luck for you, but you're going to see about 12% across the nation based on the numbers I'm looking at. New York is worse because we have a worse infrastructure, but don't believe that it's better anywhere else in the nation. And I am hoping that I am making the error on the high side. I would love for it to be less, but you know what you don't hear and what you need to hear? We need to hear from all of our elected officials, and they adopt the same mentality. I will work with the worst case number, and I will try and plan for that worst case scenario so that if it gets that bad, I'm not surprised. If it is less, I can easily handle it and make it better. And my plan isn't, how am I going to get through the next week of a news cycle? Right. How am I getting my people through the next 6 months to a year? If I'm planning for 20% over the next to take me into, and that's, I'm taking that from now until basically a full year.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I'm planning 4 years out, man. Yeah, I'm planning 4 years out. I win. I'm planning 4 years out. Did I stop the bleeding? I stopped the bleeding. I won. All right, now next 4. Are we healing now? That's what I want. I'm with you. Yeah. So look, before we wrap this up, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to bring up, that you want to chat about?
Let me think here. We talked a little bit about
I try to cover all the good hard topics for you. I try to hit them all.
Well, I know. And my campaign manager, before I got on, he was terrified. Look, watch out. He's going to ask you things. I'm like, I'm me. You know, I'm going to talk no matter what.
Yeah.
Ask me a question, I will
I'm
answer.
not here to beat you up, brother. I'm here to have a conversation. That's not who I am.
No, I know that. I know. But you also know me as well as like, we talk.
Yeah.
I will answer anything.
Absolutely.
One thing I would say is we need a country that adopts an idea that we can talk. We can disagree. We can be passionate. We can be passionate and passionately disagree. You and I have had passionate disagreements for hours, and we've had great conversations where we agree. And we are friends. We're not worried about that. I'm not worried about you saying, Mike, you're just wrong on this. Let me explain why I believe that. And I've done the same to you. And I've done this with people who are Democrats, who are libertarians, conservatives, even other Republicans. If we don't talk, then we can't fix anything. If we can't
100%.
talk, we can't find the problem and we can't find the solution, because none of us are brilliant enough to know the answer to everything.
Absolutely.
We need to have that conversation. And I believe I start as a candidate, I walk in, I have strong passions. I have a strong idea. And I'm at the same time turning around and going, but I need you to talk to me.
Yeah.
And because people do that, that's what I think is effective. And that's why I think people should be voting for me, which is VasquezForBroome.com.
Yes, for those of you, I mentioned it once, we mentioned it again, VasquezForBroome.com. At the bottom, it's going there. If you want to help him out, head on over there. He could use money, he could use time, he can use all kind of goodies, right? If you got cash, awesome. If you don't have cash, you can give him some time. Whatever you got, he will take it and he will use it.
Oh, so absolutely.
He will absolutely use it. So if you got
especially
it,
in COVID, especially in these COVID days. So it's not anything going to be too intensive, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It's a good show. Michael, thank you for giving me the time. I appreciate it. We had a good conversation back and forth. A lot of people coming back and forth. Nice stuff. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to read through the comments now, and that's probably going to take another hour or two. But I want to see what everyone said, and I'm going to try and respond to as many as possible. I thank you, Larry. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And get back up into the area. We're going to go out. We'll go dinner. This time it's my treat.
There we go. And I will be heading up there. For those of you who don't know, I'll be heading up starting September 4th. I begin literally, I'm not joking, my third full Sharpe. Well, I will cross the entire state and touch every single county. This time I'm doing the whole thing in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yes.
You're going to be tired.
The whole thing in 6 weeks. But hey, the election's coming. I need people to vote L's. I need people to vote gold. Absolutely. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Guys.